Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my Flosstube update number 420. 420. Today is Saturday, January 17th. Yes, the 17th. Um, yeah. So I'm cold. My hands are cold. I've been cold all morning. I don't know. Anyway, to me, it's kind of chilly in here. I don't know. Have been able to warm up. I washed my hands a while ago and I was running them under the hot water. It felt so good. Um, I've got my slippers on. Thank you, Brandy. To try to, my feet are nice and warm, but my hands are frozen, frozen, frozen. Okay. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I talked last week about the fundraiser I'm trying to do for MeowParlour, which is a cat cafe in New York City. I know it may seem kind of far away for those of you who don't live in New York, but but uh, it's an account that I follow Whisk to Whiskers, who is a young woman who works uh, with MeowParlour. I believe she's a co-founder. Anyway, um, so she had fostered and kept a cat named that she called Baby Corn. She named him Baby Corn, and Baby Corn has cerebellar hypoplasia, which is often called the wobbly cat syndrome. And he's perfectly, he's perfectly happy. Has some certain health issues, whatever, but he's a perfectly happy cat. Uh, Cerebellar hypoplasia cats can be, perfectly happy in their lives. They have, certain um, special needs, I guess could call them, but otherwise they're just normal cats. You just have to allow for certain physical issues, whatever. But anyway, so that's how I first came to be aware of her through Baby Corn and all of that, and then learned that she's associated with this organization, MeowParlour. Um, anyway, so just in you know many people are involved with local uh, animal charities, cat cafes and all that. Um, and I don't think of this as interfering with any of that, but just for uh, for the sake of Baby Corn and MeowParlour, just wanted to do a little fundraiser for them. So anyway, so I had come up with this pattern called I'm calling Tiny Saint. Um, so there's Baby Corn, and I've modified the design a little bit as I've been stitching it. There are some things I thought, I want to do this a little better. You can see right here I added his little halo. These little halos were in the corner just because I just wanted something to sort of balance out the pattern. But I decided he really needed to have a halo of his own because he's a tiny saint. And so Jonathon Eaton, one of Baby Corn's followers, a follower on her on Whisk to Whiskers channel, had written this poem in the comment section of a picture when she took the kitten with her and she and her parents went to Rome. She and her husband and her parents went to Rome. But so he wrote this poem, and I'm just going to read it again because it's so funny. I like the poem. Um, so it goes, I found a tiny saint in Rome, which is what she said about this picture. I found a tiny saint in Rome, so he wrote this poem there. I found a tiny saint in Rome. It looked like he could use a comb, his little flat top. His eyes were wide, his tongue stuck out. Yeah. He was, without a doubt, devout. His hair was black, his ears were pointed. I wonder when he was anointed. And so there's a little corn ear of corn down here. And so when I redesigned the pattern, there's actually three little ears of corn across the bottom. So anyway, I so I made this pattern. So if you will make a donation of any amount to MeowParlour and send me a screenshot of your, proving that you made a donation, a screenshot of your uh, donation screen or whatever, send it to me. And you can either, I put in there originally to send it to Three Sister Creative, which is the email address for that my sisters and I have for our Three Sisters Creative Etsy shop. So single sister, Three Sister Creative at gmail.com is the email address. Or as far as I'm concerned, you can send a screenshot to me at my personal email, fantagray at gmail.com, and that's in both of those email addresses will be in the description box below. But so if you'll send me just some kind of proof that you made this donation, I will send you send me your email address or whatever. Then I will send you a copy of this PDF, just for fun, right? So you could do that to show your support for baby corn for MeowParlour. So this is what I've stitched so far. I'm not quite done with it, and like I said, I modified it a little bit from my original pattern. But so this is where I've gotten so far. I've got the word devout there. I don't have the he was without a doubt. I haven't gotten that far yet. But I did the rest of this here. I found a tiny saint in Rome. It looked like he could use the gum. And I don't know why I put this over here. I think I was trying to make fill up the space a little bit more, but I've been thinking about, should I take this out and just move it over and sort of line it up over here, or I don't know why I did it that way, but I did. And so I have here, his eyes were wide and his tongue stuck out. And then underneath here it says, he is where it's going to say he was without a doubt and devout. Here, I had the word devout because I was, stitching with this blue thread, and the devout was underneath there. And the other part, he was without a doubt, is in this red color. It's mellow. It's all designed in. This is 32 count Murano Carré, but this design is it's Ada friendly. It's you do it in any cloth you want. This just happens to be 32 count Murano Carré, and I dyed this myself. It's I think the color I use is hyacinth. It's a writ dye hyacinth. Yeah. It's just a pretty sort of purpley, bluish purpley color. I don't know how you would describe it. But anyway, so I designed it in Weeks Dye Works threads. He's going to have one little white whisker, which is a B5200 for that single whisker in there. And you can see it. Woo, in here. And the little white whisker. Because baby corn had, I don't think he has it now. I think it fell out, but for a while he had this single white whisker on his face. So, and like, I changed his nose a little bit so it doesn't look quite so piggish there. Yeah, so there's a few little changes that I've made, but anyway, it's a very simple, easy design. Yeah. The hardest part was just doing this is a lot of black stitching. But you can kind of see his little nose there, Anyway, so I'm going to fix the pattern and put the changes that I decided on, put them in there. And yeah, but there he is. And like I said, I designed this in Weeks Dye Works threads just for fun. But you can certainly, if you don't want to do the Weeks Dye Works colors, you can stitch it in any color you want, of course. And like I said, it's Ada friendly. There are no half stitches or anything like that. This is mostly backstitched. Um, so, uh, but they're all like just squared off. You can do. I backstitched it in with two threads. Just because I've always I like that a little better than one thread. To me, one thread oftentimes kind of sinks sometimes behind that in between the thread behind you don't see it very well. So I like the uh, more of a look with the two threads. But again, it's certainly adaptable to however you want to stitch it if you want to do that. So, like I said, make it be nice, make a donation to MeowParlour, and just send me some kind of screenshot of your donation or whatever, and I'll send you the PDF of this design. So anyway, so that's Tiny Saint. Let me get this out of the way here. Then, so I've been working on that in the last couple of days. I have my second WIPGO project to do. Last week I showed that I had finished my first WIPGO call, which was that I was working on, which was one of the Year in the Woods patterns, the Woodpecker. I finished that. And so this is my other WIPGO call for this month, and this also happens to be a Year in the Woods pattern. This is by Cottage Garden Samplings, Year in the Woods. So this is the one they came out with back in, I don't know what, 2002 or whatever. For some reason, oh yeah, 2002. 22, excuse me, 2022. 22 was the year that these came out. So this is the raccoon. This is number 4 of this series. And last week I needed to work on his body and everything. So in the past 4 days, I guess my goal is 7 days, and I've done 4 of the 7 so far. But I kind of stopped because I got a little fatigued of doing the. I've been stitching in a gray all this the whole time, almost the whole time. I did do this little pattern, this little 4 stitch diamond shaped pattern. It occurs throughout here and then all along his haunch there. But then behind there is this medium gray here, and I finished his face, and there's some little diamond shaped patterns in that medium gray on his shoulders here. The other parts, the very light gray that here on this part of his arm, and the white on his arm here, and this lighter gray, all of these were done. So I just had this on his top of his head, and the background of this part of his body, and here this all this medium gray stuff around his eyes, down his middle of his face, and these little stars on his shoulders. That was all that medium gray, this medium background gray color, and that goes all through this haunch. This all of the blank area here is all that medium gray, and then here on this the beginning of his tail, and then in the back it's the background color for these darker squares here, right? So there's another color that there's you can't really see it. Well, now you can because you can see through the fabric. So there's uh, a lighter gray color here, these squares here, and there's another grayish brownish color that goes in between in the background of this design. That's the other color. So there's that gray, and then that lighter color in between here that to finish the raccoon. So I may or may not finish the body of the raccoon by the time I hit the 7-day goal. And then, of course, there's, fronds and flowers and stuff all around that I haven't got to yet. So probably, if I could, what I would like to do is finish that animal's body, including the tail, over the next 3 days. The next 3 days that I'm going to work on this. I'd like to get that done, and then it'll probably be next time before I get to the rest of the design, because it's a lot of stitching. That raccoon is I don't know why I guess I didn't put in. I don't know if I didn't put in as long a days the last time I worked on this, or if it's part of it is that it's just very complicated. The little design elements, those little squares or little diamond shapes, whatever, it's hard to make sure they're in the right place and all that stuff. So, excuse me, it takes a little time, and then just lots and lots of stitching to get the background. So like I said, I have 3 more days to work on this before I hit the goal of 7 days. And if I have more time, I've got basically a week and a half, 2 weeks to work on that some more. So I'm going to be doing that. And I want to finish Tiny Saint, which will probably, if I were to stitch it today, which I may still do the rest of the evening, I may go ahead and finish that. It's like I said, it's almost pretty much everything that's left is just words, and then those 3 ears of corn. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that. Maybe today. Certainly this weekend. The other thing I worked on, because like I said, I got tired of doing just all of that gray. After a while I was like, I got to the end of a thread and I'm like, okay, I got to take a break for a minute. And so I worked on Tiny Saint, and I wanted to be able to show, part of it, here on my update. As I was hoping I could finish it before today, but I didn't. Oh, sorry about that. The other thing I did was, at the beginning of this month, I did a finish parade, um, to show the things that I finished in 2025. And among the ones that I showed was this Starry Night Biscornu that I kind of finished and kind of didn't. Um, as you recall, on the with the Biscornu, of course, you do the design, and then you do a back and a front, and then you do like a back stitched line around the a square line around the back and the front, and then stick them together, right? So when I worked on Starry Night Biscornu for one of the my cross stitch camp challenges, the challenge was in this case to stitch something new to you, and this is a new designer. The designer for this Biscornu is Cosford Rise Stitchery. Yeah, Cosford Rise Stitchery. And I had never done anything by them before. So I did this Starry Night Biscornu, and I finished all the inside stitching of the square, but I did not quite finish the back stitch line. I had just done the top and around the corners or whatever. But so that was one thing I did. I finished the back stitch line across around one side. It's like 101 stitches on each side of the square. So it's 101, 101, 101, 101, right? So I did that. I put this little thread up here just so that I know that this is the top, so that I don't get it, turned around, so that my stitches all go the correct way. And then this thread is marking the center of the design to make it a little bit easier to put a button, from the front and back. And I do one on each side, a button in the front and a button in the back, and stitch them together, run the piece of thread between the two of them. It's to you know, that's the way I do it. Um, so like I said, I finished the back stitching line across. So the front panel is completely finished. The back panel, I have to do that back stitch line around it. So it's not quite finished. This is the top of this one. Yeah. So like I said, all the inside stitching is done. It's just that back stitch line around it that's not completed. And I used in this case, um, partly because I just had started it this way without thinking about it. But I used two threads around there. You can do one. Um, you know, you have to do. It's supposed to be back stitched, right? I think I did. I think I did cross. Yeah, it's cross stitched. It's not back stitched, but I used two threads. You know, instead of one. But with two threads, it makes it a little bit visually a little easier to put the front and back together. So this will probably I'll probably do two threads on this one as well. Um, and it's not I didn't do it as a back stitch. I did it as a full X. On the design, I think it's like a full X. It's not a backstitch line. Most Biscornus will have it as a backstitch line along the outside, and that makes it easier, I think, to sew together. Perhaps because you pick up one side and you pick up the other with your and whip stitch the sides together. But as long as you're not stitching the fabric, you're just hooking it with your underneath the stitch and whip stitching it together. So the back stitch line makes it easier. The X on the thing. Uh, you just have to be careful not to get the actual fabric. Right, you're just stitching the threads together. So anyway, with the pattern, it doesn't show it as a back stitch line. It shows it as an X, a cross stitch line. And I think when I was doing it, I didn't even think about it before I started. I had stitched the whole side of it, and then I realized, oh yeah, that theoretically should have been a back stitch line, um, but it wasn't charted that way, and so I didn't think about it. But anyway, so it is what it is. So, so I did it. But like I said, I finished the front, and so I just need to stitch that way on the back, and it'll be done. I don't know if I'll do it this month or not, or I'll just take a break and do it later. I don't know, but so yeah, so I did that just to sort of as a palate cleanser, if you will. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I think I touched briefly on this that our friend Vicky, a girl we went to school with, she was Vicky Campbell then. I can't think of now of her married name, but I think she lives in Oklahoma now. But we knew her when we were growing up in Albuquerque. We went to school together, me and my sister, and so other friends there. Um, but she sent us a bunch of things. I think I talked about some of the fabrics that she sent us and some of the patterns. And so we sat down and went through some things. She sent some yarn and some needles and stuff like that. And so the knitting needles, my younger sister happily took because she can always use knitting needles. And then Eve and I divvied up the fabrics. We went through and they were all bestitch me grab bags, little, of remnants of fabric, whatever. And so they were there was an even weave, some even weave sets, and then a package of Ada cloth sets. And Eve likes to stitch on Ada a lot, so she went ahead and took the Ada cloth ones. And the other ones are, looks like they're, well, they are even weaves. They're all even weaves of various colors. And so Eve and I sat down with, and sort of with a ruler thing and sort of made sure of all the counts, because I think most of them are 28 or 32, but some of them seem a little bit smaller, like 36. and I think one looks like it might be 40. It's hard to say. We, like I said, we did our best to sort of to see what the thread count is, and but you know it's always hard when something's been dyed because sometimes the fabrics will react differently and be a tighter hole. So it's maybe it's 28 count, but it seems like 27 or 29 or something like that. Or if it's 36 count, maybe it looks like 37 or something. It's so um, so anyway, we went through and did determine all the counts, and so yeah, we divvied up the fabric amongst us, between us. So I got several nice colors to work with, and again, they're smaller cuts, and so I'll have to look and at smaller patterns that I have that would fit easily on these. Most of them are about 8 inches, in the narrow width, and then like maybe 12 or 13 lengthwise, and some of them are a little bit more. So I'll have to look at my patterns that I have and see, that I plan to stitch and see what'll fit easily on those patterns. But then we also looked at the patterns that she sent us, and I think I talked last week about, yeah, I did, about this Lindy Stitches Lear's Macaw pattern that comes with it. I folded it up inside there, but there's two skeins each of Americana and Blue Bonnet. Those are both Wheat Styworks colors. So then they're used, extensively on these macaws. But so I talked about this last week. There's Macaw by Lindy Stitches, part of her Endangered Species Club is that pattern. But then also we had these other kits. So one of them, this one is the Stitching with the Housewives, part of their Sip of the Seasons designs, and this one is Sam and Liberty. And I'm thinking I might do this for the what do you call it? The semi-sesquicentennial, whatever it is, for the 250th anniversary of the country. I don't know. Yeah, this is designed in Classic Colorworks. There's a DMC alternative list on here as well. There he is. So there's Uncle Sam, and looks like a chicken in a cup that says Liberty. And there's some chickens and various flags and bunting on there. So I might do this instead of the Long May She Wave one, the Barbara Anna design, just because this is it's smaller and simpler than the Barbara Anna design. I really like the Barbara Anna design that I have for the 250th anniversary, but I might do this. I haven't decided yet because I want to do cross stitch camp this summer if provided the Colorado cross stitcher does that again, and this might, if this falls into one of those categories, I might be able to stitch this in a month easily, just because it's, like I said, there's a lot of negative space, so it seems like it's easier to do. And I have, I think, most of these Classic Colorwork colors, but let me see if there's, yeah. But so there's that. Another one she gave us was this one by Dirty Annie Southern Style. It's called Ho Ho Ho, I think, is the name of this. But this is a limited edition kit. So this comes with it comes with I guess this finishing fabric, the little Christmassy finishing background, and it comes with let me just open it up. It comes with, I think, if not all of them, several of the threads. These are DMC skeins. I don't know if they're all of them. It shows that they're, move this out of the way here. But then also, yeah, this is like a board, you know, that you could use for the background. And then, yeah, on this board, yeah, you can make, it's a little stand-up thing. So that's part of the kit. And it, you know, so it has this little square here, and you can stick your buttons and things on there. I'm assuming there's instructions in there. But so, yeah, open this up a little here. I don't want to squish this or do any damage to it. But here's, actually, let me hold this up here, because I think this was included so it wouldn't get, you know, smashed or anything. But there's, let me hold it up here. There it goes. And it goes like this. But it, you know, that's that. It's a like a tree kind of trim, and then there's a couple of little buttons I think that go with it. Yeah, there's the little ho 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 words here, and there's a little Santa Claus. It's not exactly a button. It's just a little figurine thing that you can, I guess, glue on there, on that little thing. Oh, there, yeah. My sister and I were debating about that light bulb. There's a snowflake. It's kind of glittery. I don't know if you can tell, see it, but there's a little glitter on there. And then there's a little light bulb, a little Christmas bulb. Yeah. So you can see all these things. Here on the picture, there's the little ho 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 and the snowflake and the Santa, and in his hand here's the little Christmas bulb, and then this little square that the I'm gonna lose this stuff. This little square goes underneath the stitching. And like I said, all these, the threads and all that stuff. So, yeah, the pattern's on the back of this sheet here. So, anyway, it's the whole kit. Little mounting board and everything else. So, yay! Looking forward to that. I'll probably do that for next Christmas. Let me just take the time to put all those little guys in this paper so they don't get lost. uh-oh, ah, I just dropped some. Sorry. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, so anyway, now that I've got it all put back together, there's all the stuff for the kid. So that is a really uh, nice thing. And then this is by Stitch Heart. Um, Nastia Lanova is the designer. Um, so yeah, it's a seahorse. I really like that. Really cute. Um, it's 90 by 109. Excuse me, 129. So it's long, but it's only 90 stitches wide. So yeah, so I think I'm going to do that as well someday. Um, so this looks like, let me see. Yeah, it's a nice colored chart. There's some back stitching and all that kind of stuff on it, but yeah, really cute little seahorse. Anyway, excuse me. So those are things that I gleaned from the all the patterns and stuff that she sent us. There's a couple of pieces in there that we'll probably do as giveaways at some point. I don't know when we're going to, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now. But anyway, that's the more stash I got recently. But so in the next few days, hopefully, I'll be finishing the Tiny Saint and the Raccoon. Like I said, I have 3 more days on the Raccoon to hit the goal. And I still have the Owl kit and the Sea Life kit, which were my new starts for this month. So I probably won't do a whole lot on those, depending on how much time I have left in uh, the next basically 2 weeks. The 31st is today's the 20. Today's the 17th. Next weekend is the 24th. We're going to be uh, having a birthday dinner for my sister-in-law Rachel. Her birthday is the 29th, but the 24th is the day easier day for us to do that. Um, so yeah, basically 2 whole weeks. The 31st is a Saturday, so we'll know by then whether I've gotten everything done this month. So, like I said, I'm hoping to get those two little kits, the Owl kit and the Sea Life kit, um, done, or at least started. Of course, that's my goal to at least begin them this month, and see how far I can get with those, and still do um, more on the Raccoon and Tiny Saint. Those are my goals for this month, to finish those up. And like I said, again, please, go ahead and make a donation to MeowParlour and let me know, and I'll send you that PDF. Um, yeah, I'd like to do that for them. Um, or yeah, the fundraiser is intended for MeowParlour. If for whatever reason, you'd like to make a donation locally to your local uh, cat charity or something like that, just let me know about that. We'll see about doing the tiny seam pattern for that as well. But the intention is to make a donation to MeowParlour, which is where Baby Corn is associated with that group. Anyway, and if any of you are followers of Kitten Lady and her husband Andrew, the cat photographer, they're friends with Baby Corn's mom. They recently did a photo shoot with Baby Corn. Andrew's done his Cats on Catnip um, calendars that in the past, and he did some pictures of Baby Corn with catnip, taking catnip. He's got catnip all over his face and his nose and everything else. But yeah, so it's fun. just let me know. Like I said, if you know if you want to make a donation, and let me know, and I'll send you the PDF. So I think that's all I have to talk about this weekend. And yeah, so I will see you next weekend. Have some more progress, I hope, on Raccoon. I hope, we'll at least have hit the 7 days goal, if not having done any more on it. So, anyway, so I will see you then next week. And until then, thanks for watching. Bye.